Next, I want to show you how to use your dealer plates, and also we're going to go a little bit more in depth into your temporary registration certificates. Here you see a New York dealer license plate. And the state does have strict guidelines on how you can legally use your New York dealer plates. And when I tell you how to legally use your dealer plates, you're going to realize a lot of dealers are not using those legally. And when you're not using a dealer plate legally, the state of New York will take it back. So I want to make sure that you are aware of how to use a dealer plate legally. We're going to use dealer plates on used vehicles that are owned and controlled by the dealer, on vehicles held for resale or demonstration, for test drives, unregistered cars on public roads, or to lend a purchaser or prospective purchaser for a period of no more than 5 days. So you're putting them on demos, you're allowing a customer to test drive them, you're using them for transportation, or maybe you've got to run a vehicle down to the repair shop down the street. That's what you're using a dealer plate for. But more importantly, let's go ahead and delve into illegal use of a New York dealer plates. You could never put a dealer plate on a vehicle that's rented to someone. So let's say you want to rent a vehicle out. You'd have to pay your sales tax on that before you could actually rent that out. Also, you could never put them on a vehicle to transport passengers, say, for example, for hire, or on tow trucks or wreckers. So you can never place a dealer license plate on what we call a commercial vehicle. So if you're making money with a vehicle, you'd need to take that dealer plate off there and put a regular New York license plate on it, because you're charging somebody to use a vehicle. So you can never put one like on a tow truck or a wrecker or anything like that. Now, I also want you to be aware, you can't put them on vehicles for the purpose of towing or even pushing disabled vehicles, those commercial vehicles, or any suburban type of vehicles that are used for the dealer for commercial purposes other than directly affecting the sale or the demonstration. So be sure you're not putting these on commercial vehicles. Make sure you're not putting them on what's called a service vehicle as well. And I want to talk about that for a little bit. The law allows you to go to that New York dealer auction and buy that beautiful 3/4-ton truck and put a dealer plate on it. That's allowed by state law. Now you're going to bring that back to your dealership and allow customers to test drive it. That's referred to as a demo. That's totally legal with the dealer plate on that truck. Now what you can do in the meantime with that truck that's got a dealer plate on it is, say, for example, hook a trailer behind it and start hauling cars back and forth from the auction. Then it's no longer a demo. That becomes what the state refers to as a service vehicle. So an easy way to remember this, you're never, ever going to haul anything behind a dealer license plate. You'll never haul anything behind a dealer plate. So do please keep that in mind. They are allowed to be placed on a vehicle that's owned. They are not allowed to be placed on a vehicle owned by the dealer's family, on any type of dealer employees or service vehicles. You may never lend a plate to another dealer. You can never use a dealer plate with an expired dealer license. I want to reiterate that one. If for some reason you let your New York dealer license expire, you can never use those plates. And I also want you to be aware of this very, very important line that I'm going to show you right here. A dealer must sell at least 5 vehicles every year to keep your dealer plate. This is a state law that I really want to make sure that you're aware of. If for some year you did not sell at least 5 vehicles, then you will not have dealer license plates. This is state law. You have to basically show the state that you are, in fact, using your dealer plates to sell motor vehicles and not just place on some vehicle that you're driving as a demo so you can avoid paying sales tax. So don't necessarily ever do what you see another dealer doing. Please do what this course says, because I've seen illegal use of a dealer plate all the time with, a truck with a dealer plate hauling flatbed trailer, with a dealer plate on a flatbed trailer hauling some car from the dealer auction. I mean, you can't do that. Those are called service vehicles. So you can never place them on service vehicles. It says right there. So a service vehicle is a vehicle providing service to your dealership. If you need to have a service vehicle for your dealership that's in service for your dealership, take the plate off, pay your sales tax, and do it legally, please, okay? Now, you can never loan a dealer plate to a customer for more than 5 days. And if you do loan a vehicle out, you need to enter that on your your electronic motor vehicle 50. You'll do that on E-Verify. You can loan a vehicle to a customer in another state for no more than 5 days, and that customer must show proof of insurance, which is a law, but I recommend that you have the customer show you proof of insurance even if they're not taking the plate for 4 or 5 days, which I never really recommend because it's hard to get a dealer plate back. I've always been a person that, expects a customer to come back within the hour. I've even asked customers when I should expect them back. And when you have someone taking a test drive, the first thing you want to do is get a copy of their photograph ID and their proof of insurance. Believe it or not, I talked to a Yamaha dealer once that had a young man come in and wanted to test drive a motorcycle, and he asked for the young man's ID. The young man left a copy of his ID, and he stole the motorcycle. So the cops went over to his house, and there's the Yamaha motorcycle at his house. So number one, you want to make sure you do have a copy of their driver's license so you know who's driving your demo, but make sure you have proof of insurance from that customer as well, because there's been situations where I've asked a customer for proof of insurance and they'll say, well, I don't have proof right now. And I just watched them drive up onto my lot. Well, they broke the law because they're driving without insurance anyway. So they're not getting into one of my demos. And I strongly encourage you to get in the habit of requiring your customers to show physical proof of insurance before you allow them a test drive. So there's the very long website that you see right there where you can actually order your dealer plates. So please keep that in mind. That's also going to be, there will be a link in Verify for you as well. But when you land on here, you can go ahead and order your dealer plates. You can just select what type of dealer plates that you're going to order. Definitely put your name, facility information, and remember, you have to have your facility ID number. So you have to show that you do have a New York dealer license before you can actually order your New York dealer plates. So there's a couple of different categories there. There's passenger plates, commercial plates, motorcycle plates, trailer plates, ATV plates, and transit plates, and limited use of motorcycle plates as well. So keep those in mind. Now, normally the passenger plates would be what you're using on a passenger vehicle, but you can order commercial dealer plates when you are showing a commercial vehicle. But remember, you can't provide commercial services and have somebody pay you for a vehicle that they're using. So please keep that in mind. I also want to let you know about the Dealer Plate Issuance Program, which allows dealers to issue permanent registration plates or in-transit plates to their customers as well. So a couple of things. If you're going to issue a dealer plate, there's a certain eligibility that you need to meet here, okay? You need to be a registered dealer in the state of New York for at least 1 year. You may not have had any type of suspensions or revocations of your license. You must be in good standing with the DMV. You must have a minimum of 25 retail sales a year. You must have a secure location for those plates and in-transit plates that are locked, and you must comply with all Verify requirements if you are ever going to issue one of those plates to a vehicle. Now, here's the application to do this, to actually issue plates to vehicles. This is your application for Dealer Plate Issuance Program, MV463. Now, you're not going to be doing this when you first get your license. You're going to have to be in good standing for at least a year before you actually start issuing plates to vehicles. So do please keep that in mind. And it is not a requirement as well. So that's something I definitely want you to be aware of. I want to go a little bit more in depth with you on your temporary certificate of registration, which I showed you when we were doing a deal here just a little bit ago. Here is a copy of your temporary certificate of registration, as you see right here. Remember, it must be issued for any vehicle that you sell, must be in the lower left corner on the inside of the windshield. If the vehicle does not have a windshield, like a motorcycle, just give the TCR to the purchaser to carry. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you sell a lightweight trailer or a motorcycle, make sure they carry it on their person, and make sure and let them know they're probably going to get pulled over because they don't have any type of plate on that vehicle. So you might recommend that they have proof of insurance as well. Those are valid for 45 days. Now, if your customer comes back 45 days after the sale and asks you to issue a second temporary certificate of registration because the one that you issued when you sold the vehicle has expired, you are not allowed to do that. That's a hardship TCR. Only the DMV can issue something longer than 45 days. So if your customer comes back saying, my TCR's expired, I haven't gotten all my plates and everything from the state, just refer them to the local DMV office, and that way the local DMV can issue what we call a hardship TCR. Now, don't forget, this is your TCR right here. So you're going to take this little tear-off tag right here, and you'll give that to the customer, and you put that left portion that you see right here on the left front windshield. So please do keep that in mind. Make sure you're using your TCRs correctly. They can be issued for any vehicle. They're valid for 45 days, and then they can also issue the 60-day extension. Let's talk about illegal use of your temporary certificate registration. When lending a dealer plate to a customer and the customer has plates for another state, when a vehicle is required to be inspected and the vehicle does not bear a valid inspection sticker. So you have to make sure if a vehicle is required to be inspected and doesn't have that valid sticker, you cannot put a TCR on that vehicle. If a bona fide sale has not taken place. So this can only be placed on a vehicle sold by your dealership. You can't just have somebody walk in off the street and say, hey, can you print me up one of those TCRs for this car I bought, for my brother-in-law? No, you can never do that. They can only be issued on vehicles that have been sold by your dealership. And remember, you cannot issue the second TCR as well. If that TCR has expired, you need to refer your customer after 45 days, refer them to the DMV so they can get a hardship TCR. And your TCRs are for your dealership only. You couldn't print up a TCR and give it to another dealer. So they're registered per specific dealer. So do please keep that in mind. In the very next section, we're going to complete titles as a licensed motor vehicle dealer.